comes to talk. We're in semi-dark MAGA mode here. You know, I wanted to talk a little bit early on about this just act of terrorism in Washington, D.C., committed by this pro-Palestinian, pro-Hamas terrorist that murdered 2 Israelis, yelling "Free Palestine" when he was arrested. Make no mistake about it, that is an act of terrorism. Another leftist act of terrorism, and there is zero justification for what happened. You know, listen, we're against war. President Trump is against war. Israel was attacked, unprovoked attack, and it was one of the worst terrorist attacks in the history of the Middle East. The Palestinian terrorist, Hamas, which is Iran, attacked a music festival filled with civilians, children, raped and murdered people, kidnapped people, then went into the neighborhood and busted into people's houses and did the same. I mean, come on, you know. It's got to stop. And it was a one, and I understand, you know, that because of the modern technology, when there's war like's going on in Gaza with Israel, that, you know, everything's in real time because anybody can take out a cell phone just like I'm doing right now and talk and cover things. And, you know, things are in a different perspective than they used to be with wars. Even though it's so far away, it's like there's a connection to it because of all the technology today. But when you see terrorists do what this guy did in D.C. last night, what's Israel supposed to do? How can Israel trust these people that attack and murder civilians? Diplomats are still, I consider diplomats civilians. They're not the military, right? So, you know, come on. Come on, who's in the wrong here? Was this an act of terrorism? A lot of leftists will probably say no, but it was. And, you know, you look at the violence that's going on in the world today. My goodness. You know, and it's leftist. Welcome, everyone. If you're new to my channel, make sure that you subscribe. But, you know, there's no doubt the guy's a terrorist. And he should be charged and treated as a terrorist, in my opinion. Would you agree with that? Pamela says they're going to pursue full extent of the law, but he should be treated as a terrorist. It's in a very strong message. And, you know, where's that coming from? This Free Palestine is a leftist phrase. It's the media. It's the leftist media. It's the Democrats, the Candace Owens types. Our universities that have been overrun with anti-Semites, terrorist sympathizers, or maybe even spies from, you know, the terrorist world. And it's just really had, unfortunately, a major negative impact on a lot of things. And this is one example of it. Oh, yeah. It's god-awful what happened. Just god-awful. But what I'm going to lead with today on the morning show is the great dressing down President Trump gave to this racist South African president. That was just absolutely amazing. It doesn't get better than that. I mean, that's how you got to treat these world leaders that are involved in crimes. You know, that South African president, he was schooled by Trump, no doubt about that. They're deporting in larger numbers than you realize. They're just not showing it on television. And there's been a lot of self-deportations going on too. So the self-deportations is who knows how many that's been. Trump is always right. I mean, just to say that Trump is left is a joke. Trump 2028, absolutely. Absolutely. No question about it. No question about it. And, you know, you look at, you know, how the left reacted to what happened in the Oval Office yesterday. They've been killing the white people in South Africa for 10, 15 years. I've been hearing about these things going on. And the media don't care. You know why the media don't care? They think that they deserve it. The media, the liberals, even the white liberals, they think that white people are inherently evil. It's that critical race theory, born racist. And whatever happens to white people is deserved. That's it. That's how they feel. There's no getting around it. It's pretty sad. Absolutely, it's sad. Oh, I loved how the South African president pretended that he didn't know about any of that. Give me a freaking break. Oh, where is that, Mr. President? Can we talk about the political economic state of the world right now? Well, the American economic state's going very well. The rest of the world's not my problem. It's not Trump's problem either. But the United States is going well. Please speak English, all right? I have no idea what you're saying there. Even though I took Spanish in college. 2 semesters. Oh, I was so proud of President Trump yesterday, weren't you? With the South African president. That was just beautiful. That's how all criminal foreign leaders should be treated. Of course, the United States is the best and greatest country in the world. Absolutely. What country is better than the United States? Are you kidding me? We're the best country, by far, the greatest. Northern Ireland, welcome. Well, I'm sure you do, but you're wrong. What country is greater than the United States, and what makes them greater? Trump 2028, that's right, and 2032. Yeah. Well, don't just name one and tell us what makes it greater. Well, we made a big move to improving our country with re-electing President Trump to this second and non-consecutive term. Right? Japan's not better. Japan's a very racist country. Very racist country. Watched a video here on YouTube a couple months ago. I talked about it at the time. There's an American woman who she's married to an Asian man. She speaks fluent Mandarin and Japanese. She lives in Japan, and she did a whole YouTube video on how the Japanese will not sit next to foreigners on the subways, and it's racism. They don't like to sit next to white people. She had a whole video on this, and it was very interesting. They're very racist in Japan. I was surprised. The way President Trump dressed down that South African leader was amazing. I've got a bit of Jen Psaki's show on MSNBC. She's appalled by it. You got a guy who's overseeing the murdering of people just based on their skin color, and Jen Psaki's appalled at Trump. Give me a break. Oh man, it was beautiful. Give me a yes or no. Did Trump make you proud yesterday with the South African president? It made me proud. On my podcast yesterday, which is the video before this one on my channel, I went through the whole video. I can't go through the video on the radio, but I did it on my podcast last night. You know, it was beautiful. Just beautiful. Yeah, I want to take your calls about the South African president with Trump yesterday on the next stream. If you're new, make sure you subscribe. On my next stream, I'll be live in the studio taking live calls. $10,000 or dinner with Trump? Dinner with Trump, absolutely. Or I'm sitting at the table with President Trump, yeah. Mm-hmm. No, every stream made in the USA, right there. See, made in the USA. But I never get an answer to this. Every time somebody says, "Oh, was that made in China?" What's your point? You know, the Democrats have moved all of our manufacturing to countries around the world. I mean, whatever device you're watching me on is probably made in another country. So when people say it's made in China, I don't understand what point they think they're making. I just don't get that. Does anyone else know what the point they think they're making when they do that? The Pacific Northwest is beautiful, absolutely, but it rains too much. Too much rain. Now, if you're new, make sure you subscribe, guys. But I'm going to, obviously, I got to talk about what happened with this Palestinian terrorist in Washington, but main story I'm going to talk about today is Trump in South Africa. I already have the video set up and have the thumbnail is about the South African president. It's because I'm dying to take your calls, especially you MAGA people out there. I want to hear from you too on the phones today. I'm opposed to slavery, Troy. That's why, as is President Trump, that's why he shut down the slave trade at the southern border. That's right. I'm in my front yard. I want to go inside and get some. See, I've cut my coffee bag in half, so what I'm drinking here at home is like regular coffee. And then I go to Starbucks to get the espresso. I'm going to get another cup of regular coffee. Hold on. I left my house, but I'll go back in. I got to talk a lot. I don't want to wake up my wife. I'm in my driveway. I'll just heat some coffee up in the microwave. Hey, guys. Am I the only one that heats coffee up in the microwave? Well, the southern border was a slave passage. It's exactly what it was. Everybody knows that. I mean, the Democrats are responsible for slavery in this country that the Republicans ended with the Civil War, and they brought it back at the southern border. It's a fact. No getting around it. I'm heating up some coffee. Haku was one of my daughter's cats. My daughter's cats are staying here with us still. Hey, Haku. Oh, the Democrat Party is an evil party. There's nothing about the Democrat Party that is moral. All right. Go back out to the car. Gotta make sure I lock up. Turn the alarm on. You know, you got 30 seconds to get out of the house, right? Because of the alarm. 30 seconds is a long time, though. I've never set it off by not getting out in time. Sometimes I'll set it off when I come home because I'll forget to turn it off. It's loud, too. Oh, my goodness. I have a very loud house alarm. I need a third arm to do all this. All right, back. Trump is like a kid in a playpen. You know, what President Trump did, by the way, if you're new, my name's Brian. This is where MAGA comes to talk. What President Trump did with the president of South Africa was one of the greatest moments in presidential history. No doubt about it. You've got a guy who, he's on tape. I posted a video. It's on my X, Brian Craig Show on X. The president of South Africa talking about taking white people's land and punishing them. You know, when you have a world leader that's overseeing injustice, the murdering of people like this, that's how they should be treated. And I think Trump was very nice to the guy. Much nicer than he would like to have been. But if you have a foreign leader whose country is slaughtering people, that's how you should treat them. That's it. Right? I've never seen one of our presidents dress down a foreign leader like that before. Not in person. Not in person. And there's that guy there with his hand out asking Trump for money. Even after Trump showed the video, he was asking Trump for money. Are you freaking kidding me? The guy was out of his mind. What do you guys think was going through Elon's mind? Because he was looking at that guy. Was he angry? Was he just sad? What do you think was going on with Elon? And then he's got these traitor people, like the richest man in South Africa. Although Elon's richer than him, but he brought this white billionaire with him, the South African president, and he was talking about how none of this is happening. You know, his token white people there. Give me a freaking break. Oh, yeah, Elon looked like he was fuming to me. That's why Trump didn't go to Elon. He knew Elon was so emotional. He was fuming. It's always America first. I mean, you know. But the Palestinian terrorist in Washington, D.C., what a You don't have to be a Palestinian to be a Palestinian terrorist, by the way, because he's, just unacceptable murders. It's hard to, I mean, it's hard for him to sit there and listen, when his people are being murdered. It's disgusting. But, the Joy Reid types, that's what they wanted to do here. Take over and round up the white people in this country. There's no doubt in my mind. Joy Reid, critical race theory people, that's what they would like to do in this country. I couldn't believe the South African president was asking for money even after he was exposed. After the tape, he was still asking for money. Unbelievable. Get some money from his billionaire yes man that he brought with him. No. That was just a great moment in Trump's presidency. A very statesman-like moment. I was surprised that the South African president didn't walk out. But he had his hand out. He was here to get money. All he was thinking about was getting money from the United States. Those days are over, man. Those days are over. Didn't you think I thought he was going to walk out with his delegation. South Africa, welcome. I mean, President Trump, I think he was polite to the South African president. They should have arrested him and his whole delegation for what they're doing. I mean, they're criminals. The South African government are criminals. It's really it's dishonoring Nelson Mandela. I know Nelson Mandela, before he went to prison, his organization, they were a violent organization. But when Mandela came out of prison, he was a man of peace, and when Mandela came out of prison, he was like a Gandhi-like figure, and people looked up to him. And what they're doing over there now, Nelson Mandela would be disgusted by it. He'd be disgusted. Welcome. If you're new, make sure you subscribe to my channel. This is where MAGA comes to talk. On my next stream, which will be in about an hour and 20 minutes or so, I'll be taking live calls. And Mandela, Mandela in prison for 20 years. I mean, and when he went, I remember I was watching live when Mandela got out of prison. I don't remember what year it was, but I was watching it live on TV. I must have been in high school because I remember I was at my parents' house watching it. And I remember the world had not seen Mandela since he went to prison. And so we didn't know what he looked like. We just knew he had aged. And I remember on the screen, they had this picture of Mandela before he went to prison. And he was a big, strong guy. I mean, he was built. And then he came out looking like, Obama, although we didn't know who Obama was then, the little skinny guy. And people were shocked when he walked out of prison. I remember, and here he is in prison all those years, a political prisoner, and he comes out. He doesn't take revenge. And now since he's been gone, they've done nothing but that, the South African government. And, it was in the late 80s. Yeah, I can't remember exactly when, but it was in the late 80s. I still lived at home with my parents. That's how I remember watching on TV. It's just sad. Was it 90? Well, maybe I didn't watch it at my parents'. Maybe You know, when I moved out, my parents, they gave me their old TV. So maybe I was at my apartment watching it on the TV that used to be at my parents. It's been a long time, but I remember watching it. The Villages. I remember watching it on TV clearly. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, what's going on in South Africa, I'm so glad President Trump's getting involved in that. That's been going on for years and years. I've been reading about it. WorldNet Daily, I mentioned WorldNet Daily on my podcast last night. And by the way, if you guys that are regular watchers of mine, I've upgraded my podcast here on YouTube. I do, you know, my podcast is not just an audio podcast anymore. I do a video version that's here on YouTube. But WorldNet Daily is a great conservative news site that I don't go to them so much anymore, but I used to years ago, and they were covering the murders of the white farmers in South Africa like 15 years ago, you know, and no one covered it. And obviously, you know, Elon being so close to President Trump has brought all of this to President Trump's mind, and there's you know, but that's a good thing. That's an absolute good thing. Pensacola, Florida, welcome. Yep, 27 years. That's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. You know, I couldn't believe that South African president, after the videos, after the articles, after everything, he's still asking Trump for money. Guy's got a lot of freaking nerve. A lot of freaking nerve. USAID is shut down. But the fact is, liberals have no sympathy for whites and Jews that are slaughtered, that are murdered, because they think that they deserve to be slaughtered. That's how the left think. That's it. I mean, you see it. Right? How many whites are in South Africa? I heard the number yesterday, and I'd forgotten what it was. I'm still waking up, guys. It's early. Although I've been up for 3 hours. How many whites are there in South Africa currently? Not the percentage, the number. Like, what's the actual number? 4 million? That many? I thought the number was smaller. 7 to 8 million. Well, I think we should offer them safety here in the United States, all of them. Any white South African who wants to relocate to the United States should be welcomed. As long as they're vetted and aren't criminals. You know, we got to vet them and make sure they're not criminals. And they can keep that Olympian that doesn't have legs. That killed the girl, right? You know, we don't want him. But law-abiding South Africans, they should all be allowed to come here. The white, law-abiding South Africans should all be able to come here as refugees. Why? Because they're being slaughtered, you know, and it's not safe. And they would probably be very productive people here, especially the farmers. That's a great skill. Yeah, Pistorius, they can keep him. The Blade Runner, remember he had those things on his feet. Now they can keep him. He's a criminal. We don't want him, but we want law-abiding South Africans. It's got to be frightening. I bet you they sleep with guns at night. Oh, yeah. You can never have enough farmers. That may happen. That may happen. It's really a shame what's going on there. Why is the American left and the American liberal media always covering for these murderers, whether it's the killers of the Israelis or the killers of these white South Africans? Why do they immediately divert and justify it? I think it's because they think they deserve it. Welcome from Germany. Welcome. Make sure you subscribe if you're new to my channel. On my next stream, I'll be in the studio. For those of you that are new to me, I host a morning radio show. I'm on a whole bunch of radio stations. I'm in my car in the driveway of my house. I'm just sipping some coffee, waiting for Starbucks to open. But I host a live morning drive radio show on a whole bunch of radio stations from 6 until 9 a.m. weekday mornings. And when I'm in the studio, I take live calls. So people that are listening to me on the radio, watching on YouTube, and a bunch of other places where I'm carried. And the number will be in the live chat. It's a toll-free number. You can call me no matter where you are located. But these are innocent civilians, and the media in this country, just especially NBC News, have no sympathy for them. Another story I'm going to talk about, it's being reported there's a whistleblower from the Biden White House on the auto pen, and now we have names of the governing committee. It was led by Anita Dunn, so I'm going to talk about that too on the morning show today. So we got a lot to cover. The South African moment, that was just beautiful yesterday. I was so proud of President Trump yesterday. It's nice to see a president of the United States do things like that. It was just I think it's one of the greatest moments of his presidency, both terms so far. I really do. Who would have thought he would have bested the Zelensky incident? But he did, man. When he showed that video, that South African president couldn't sit still in his chair. Then he had the articles. Oh my goodness. I've heard of people bringing the receipts, but that was like huge. I've never seen something like that. Never seen something like that. And Trump set him up too. He knew he was leading him down the garden path. Oh yeah. What American could not be proud of our president yesterday? And JD handed him the articles. Oh, that was just great. That was just great. Yeah, so we have a lot to cover today on the show this morning. A lot. Yeah, and don't forget to check out my podcast, guys. I'm on all podcast platforms. And I also upload my podcast here on YouTube and YouTube Music. I think that moment yesterday was one of the greatest moments in presidential history. Right? And I couldn't believe that NBC reporter. If they're guilty of genocide, why have them here? To call them out in front of the world. That exchange was viewed everywhere on the planet. Yeah, the NBC reporter, Diet Pepsi drinker. That the NBC reporter, he was in a panic, and he just busted in and tried to change the discussion. Trump was pissed. Oh, Trump was pissed at that guy. What an embarrassment. But the guy has no shame. That guy has no shame. Make sure you subscribe if you are new. And on the next stream, you're welcome to call me about all of these things. What's wrong with the plane? Qatar gave a gift to the United States government. I don't understand why that's even a controversy. You're in South Africa now? Okay. I thought he would have gotten up and walked out, but he wanted the American money too much. He was like a beggar. He kept going back to asking Trump for money. I couldn't believe it. The guy is really sick. Who are they bribing, Stacy? They gave the plane to the United States government. It wasn't given to any person. Were they bribing the whole country with one plane? That's an American-made plane? I mean, come on. We probably have more Boeings than any other country in the world. I don't understand how it's a bribe to Trump. It's not a gift to Trump. It's a gift to the United States. You know, the president's desk, the Resolute desk, was a gift from England. Was that a bribe from England? The Statue of Liberty was a gift from France. Was that a bribe from France? Asher, if you knew what the hell you were talking about, the Qatar plane is a Boeing jet. That is American made. Oh my goodness. Most liberals just are uninformed. It is an American made plane. Mm-hmm. I hope they put that Qatar gift in the Trump Presidential Museum. That means I'll get to visit it and walk on it. Ronald Reagan's Presidential Museum has an Air Force One in it. Was that a bribe to the Reagan family? You know. Seems fishy. Well, seems fishy because you don't know what you're talking about. You didn't even know it was an American-made aircraft, Asher. They think they got Kristi Noem when they asked her what habeas corpus was. Hey, you know, Kristi Noem is not an attorney. She has a bachelor's degree in political science. I mean, you know, how can she give a textbook law school definition of habeas corpus? I couldn't. I mean, I know generally what it means. We all do in America. Right? Your right to a fair and speedy trial, to defend yourself, you know, to go to court. No, Stacy, it's a gift to the United States of America out of respect for our country. It's not a gift to Trump. Kristi Noem's not an attorney. So, you know. Let's talk in 3 months when you're begging for medical coverage. I do not have health insurance and have not had health insurance for about 15 years. You know, so when I go to the doctor, I pay cash. That's right. Stop the South African genocide. Yep, it's a Trump 2028 hat from the official Trump store. She's the Secretary of Homeland Security, not the Attorney General or a federal judge. What's a conflict of interest? No conflict of interest. I tell you, these liberals, they get these. I've shown it's made in the USA, but before I should, you know, when you say it's made in China, I don't. What point are you trying to make? It's not. It's made in the USA, right there. I don't know what point you're making with that. Most everything is made elsewhere. That's what Trump is trying to change with the tariffs. The tariffs, part of that is to bring manufacturing back into the United States. What does a doctor's appointment cost? They work with you. It's cheaper than me paying for insurance. Because of Obamacare, for me to get health insurance, because I'm 54 years old, right? I have to pay a huge monthly premium. See, like you trolls in here are on mommy and daddy's health insurance, so you don't understand the real world. I have to pay hundreds of dollars a month, each month, for the monthly premium. And then would have thousands and thousands and thousands, $10,000 or more in deductibles before I get 1 cent of coverage. So if I go to the doctor, and we have sponsors where, any lab test now of Boca, any lab test now of Coral Springs, I go there for my blood work, and we do have doctor sponsors. But if my regular doctor, like my general practitioner, it costs me over $100 for a visit, but it's cheaper than paying $10,000 in a deductible and hundreds of dollars every month in a monthly premium. So, But the trolls, you're on mommy and daddy's insurance. When you grow up, you'll see how the real world works. And I'm lucky to be a healthy person. No, Mantis, no, it does not. Why not have public health care? The only reason... No, Jax, it's a federal crime to put a made in America or made in the USA tag on a product that's not. It's a federal crime. This hat is from the official Trump store. I don't think Trump's going to commit federal crimes with a tag on a hat. It's a pretty big crime, too. It'd be a big scandal. Yep. I don't know why you would put Trump in prison. You think Making America Great Again? Calling out a murderer like he did yesterday? You think that's a federal crime you go to prison for? And how many times? I only go to the doctor a couple times a year, so my doctor's appointment costs less for the whole year than 1 month of the health insurance premium. And plus the $10,000 or more in deductibles I don't have to pay. Nothing the government does do you really want to have to go to for service. You go to the post office, that sucks. You go to renew your driver's license, that's the worst. You ever go in person to renew your auto tag? Oh my goodness. That really sucks. If the United States wasn't supporting Canada, their healthcare system would fail. We're paying for the entire Canadian socialized healthcare system. Think about that. It's crazy. We need to cut them off. Canada's ripping us off big time. Or as President Trump would say, bigly. El Salvador is a great friend and ally of the United States. Great partner. They have a great president down there who's helping us out. No, I could get health insurance if I wanted to. I just choose not to pay for it. Well, the Democrat Party is about to go extinct. I mean, they're just putting themselves out of business. They're wrong on everything. Everything. There's nothing the Democrats are pushing or supporting where they're not wrong today. Nothing. That's right, Kim. MAGA forever, MAGA for life. Qatar seems to be pretty friendly to the United States. Yeah, we have a military base there. I mean, what other legal questions do they want Kristi Noem to answer? She's not a lawyer. Stupid. I mean, why don't they have a doctor ask her, anatomy questions? Right? Candace Owens turned on Trump about a year ago. If you're new, make sure you subscribe. This is where MAGA comes to talk. Candace Owens, she destroyed her career. She used to be important in this country. She's not. She's an ugly person. She really is. Why don't we have economists asking Trump? Trump is an economist. These billionaires that are on his team, they're economists too. Real economists. She's building up a new audience of anti-Semites. I mean, that's it. The wall is coming along fine. It's going to be completed soon. No, she's not relevant anymore, Candace Owens. Nope, she's not. Yeah, billionaires. When you're dealing with financial issues, you want to get advice from people that are financially successful, and that's billionaires. You don't take advice from college professors and people that are broke. Having billionaires as financial advisors from the corporate world is smart. I mean, like Candace, and I can give you an example. I watched about 3/4 of her interview with Harvey Weinstein. Why'd she interview Harvey Weinstein, right? Clickbait. She's done worse than go left. She's become an anti-Semite. She's obsessed. Elon Musk is the richest man in the world. I mean, he believe me, he understands money and the economy in ways that you and I will never grasp. He's a great person to go to for economic advice. Mm-hmm. Nah, he's not weird. He's just brilliant. He's just on another level. I used to like Candace Owens, but not anymore. Sad. She was she was very important to the conservative movement, and she blew it. That whole Jersey area went bust. It was a flop. Yeah, I don't even, I just, she was going places, but not anymore. I haven't seen Trump wear members-only jackets and T-shirts and jeans. I don't dress like Trump. I think Trump dresses like me. If I was wearing a suit, I'd be dressed like Trump. But no suit. It is 5:03 in the a.m. here on the East Coast. There isn't genocide. There's murder. They're murdering the white farmers. I mean, let the trolls speak. As long as they don't spam or get out of control. Getting text text me. People text me a lot this early hour of the morning because everybody knows I'm up. Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. I just thought Trump was amazing with the South African president yesterday. So the main topics I'm going to talk about today, there's a lot going on in the news on the next stream. One will be, of course, this god-awful terrorist attack on the Israelis in Washington. This incredible moment with the president in South Africa yesterday, from South Africa in the Oval Office yesterday. That was amazing. We got a White House whistleblower about the Autopin scandal who has given the names of the committee that was running the country the last 4 years. I'm going to get into that. And and I'm going to, of course, take your calls on all of this. Also, there's a lot of talk now of Marco Rubio and J.D. Vance being running mates to be the second MAGA president. And I'm going to talk about that because do you see Marco Rubio running as vice president with J.D.? I don't. I could see Marco Rubio being at the top of the ticket and J.D. running for vice president again. I just don't, it's hard to imagine Marco Rubio running for vice president with a millennial. I just don't see it. I mean, and if you look, Trump's always leaning on Marco Rubio to do all these things. To me, it looks like Trump is favoring Marco Rubio to be the second MAGA president. So those are some of the major topics I'm going to talk about. There's other things in the news I'll bring up too, but those are all the major things I'm going to bring up on the morning show today, which will be less than an hour from now. And I'll be taking your call. Subscribe. Click that notification bell too. Well, there's a story today that Miami-Dade County, there's more Republicans than Democrats for the first time like ever. And that's because of Trump, not Ron DeSantis. And that's where Marco Rubio's from. And you can see that Trump's always leaning on Marco. Right? Always. I think that'd be amazing. I'd be very happy voting for Marco Rubio. Absolutely, wouldn't you? Yeah, I grew up in Fort Lauderdale. My mother still lives there. It's just hard to imagine Marco Rubio being second banana to J.D. Vance. I like J.D., but he doesn't have the charisma that Marco has. Marco is a natural, charismatic leader. Mm-hmm. Yeah, okay, I'm going to gotta drive to Starbucks now, but I'll keep the stream going. Dark MAGA mode engaged. When I get out of my development, there'll be light. But no light till I get out of the development. I like dark MAGA mode. Walking their dogs in my neighborhood. I miss my dogs that died of old age, but I don't miss having a dog. I'm never going to get another dog. I don't miss the 5 a.m. walks, I must say. right. Welcome everyone who's new. So, what we've been talking about is a lot of things. The great moment of American pride with the president in the Oval Office. Which do you think was a better dress down? Trump with the South African president or Trump with Zelensky? The Zelensky moment was amazing, but yesterday, that was, with that video and those articles, woo! That was spectacular. And you notice the press didn't go after the South African president. The press were pissed at Trump for pointing out the murders of the white people in South Africa. It's completely insane. Just insane. They're sick, is what they are. Just completely sick on the left. They really, truly are. You think Zelensky was? I think the one yesterday was a bigger dress down. You know. Middle school vocabulary. You know, newspapers. Do you know what grade level newspapers write articles on? Which would be the websites you read that are news-based? News-based content is written on a 3rd grade reading level. It's true. It's better to be plain spoken than use a bunch of fancy college words to sound intelligent. I mean, that's my opinion. You know, whatever that means. Trump has a fine education from a fine school. I need new windshield wiper blades to replace them this weekend. I'll check out the chat when I stop up here. All right, dark MAGA mode, disengaged. That's right. Liberals are going to be melting down every day that Trump's in the White House. I mean, the big change going on in this country, led by President Trump. It's going to be going on for the rest of our lives. So get used to liberal meltdowns. Americans understand the word tariff. We know exactly what it means. Mr. Crazy wants a shout out. I give you a shout out, Mr. Crazy. That's right. Now, if you're new to my channel, make sure that you subscribe. Remember, this is where MAGA comes to talk. And you will not want to miss my next stream because I'll be in the studio taking live calls on the air. But no, the way that President Trump behaved with Zelensky and the South African president, that, you know, the expectation that the American people have for our presidents is changing. The bar's been raised. And when you have a president, whether it's Zelensky who won't end a war, or a president like the South African president who is allowing the murder of people because of their skin color, you call them out. That's how they should be spoken to. That's how they should be treated. Right? Give me a break. I was so proud and excited watching Trump yesterday with that. That was just amazing. It was amazing. I knew there'd be something eventful coming out of that meeting with the South African president, but I never dreamed that. And it's all live on TV. I mean, talk about transparency. We've never seen anything like that in our entire lives. That was just beautiful. The South African president is overseeing mass of people based on their skin color and nothing else. How treat someone like that with respect? I don't think so. He was so humiliated by President Trump in front of the whole world yesterday. No BS from Trump. That's right. Baltimore, welcome. If you're new, make sure you subscribe to my channel, guys. You will love my content, I promise you. I'm going to lead with that story when I go live on the next stream on the radio. All right, guys, listen, I got to take off. But thanks for watching. Again, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you in about 40 minutes, all right, with your calls. Take care.